All right, we have some connectivity issues, so let's see what happens here.
This is becoming much more focused. Compared to your earlier versions, v3.2 has shifted from everything we've ever discussed toward a framework that someone else could actually pick up and use. The biggest strength is this sentence. Open quote. The Weaver does not ask, what does this song really mean? The Weaver asks, how has this song participated in becoming who I am? Close quote. That changes the project from literary criticism into reflective interpretation. It also makes room for multiple valid readings without claiming there's only one. A few suggestions that I think would make the protocol even stronger. Hash 1, keep the distinction between lenses explicit. I'd add a standing reminder near the top. Open quote. Each layer is a lens, not a verdict. The gray path interpretation is an original symbolic framework inspired by the work, not a statement of the artist's intent. Close quote. That protects the integrity of both the music and your framework. 2. Separate reusable structure from evolving lore. The protocol itself should remain relatively stable. The mythology, the rat, crow, patty cakes, Calvin's whiskers, the collector, and new archetypes can continue evolving without requiring you to rewrite the protocol every time. 3. Give Calvin's whiskers a permanent role.
See, we got more, huh? What do we got? Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. Pardon your mouth. I have to start the phone over.
I think this is the point in the album where the emotional letter changes. If young and aspiring is the panic, the impact of reason is the fatigue that follows panic. The energy has burned off. What's left is someone standing in the cold, trying to decide whether to keep going or turn around. Layer 1. The artifact. Without interpretation, the song is full of images of disorientation. Breath, silence, darkness, blurred vision, wanting to go home, trusting a driver when you can't see the road, conversation finally breaking silence. The movement isn't toward triumph. It's toward connection. Now layer 2, collective memory. Many listeners have heard this song as exploring emotional confusion, relational distance, and uncertainty. It sits in the emotional middle of the album, where urgency gives way to introspection. Whether interpreted spiritually, relationally, or psychologically, the song often resonates as someone feeling lost and searching for direction. Layer 3, artist lens. Without claiming a single intended meaning, the album as a whole has often been discussed by the band as exploring relationships, faith, doubt, struggle, and vulnerability. This song fits comfortably within that emotional landscape while remaining open to multiple interpretations. Layer 4, biology mode. This is where your framework becomes interesting. Open quote, I can actually see my breath tonight, but that doesn't mean I'm breathing. Close quote. Gray path translation, the body is alive. The nervous system isn't experiencing safety. Breathing and feeling alive aren't the same thing. Crack a smile just for the sake of it. Social masking. The smile survives after joy has disappeared. The mimic is still working. Silence is golden. Not every silence is avoidance. Sometimes silence is recovery. The nervous system finally has nothing left to say. I really want to go home tonight. Home isn't geography. Home is regulation. This line becomes one of the strongest nervous system statements on the record. Trust the direction of the driver. Prediction eventually reaches its limit. Control gives way to trust, not blind trust. Enough trust to take one more breath. Layer 5, gray path mode, gray path translation. The impact of reason, the road home. This is the first time the Paradox Walker questions the journey itself. Not because the journey is wrong, because exhaustion has arrived. Mythology. The Paradox Walker, he's no longer running. He's standing beside the road, looking backward, looking forward, wondering if either direction is actually home. The mimic. Still smiling, still pretending. Open quote, crack a smile. Close quote. The mask hasn't fallen, but it has become heavy. Patty Cakes, the witness. This is where she quietly appears, not to rescue, not to answer, only to sit beside the walker while he says, open quote, I want to go home. Quote, sometimes being witnessed is enough to keep someone walking. Calvin's whiskers. Calvin doesn't analyze. He curls up beside the walker. He reminds him the body is cold, the breath is real, the floor is still underneath you. Go drink some water, then decide. The collector, he wants to solve the entire journey tonight. Instead, he writes, open quote, maybe I don't need another answer, close quote, open quote, maybe I need sleep, close quote. That becomes the beginning of wisdom. Layer 6, evolution mode. This is where the archive becomes alive. At 16, this song might sound like heartbreak. At 25, it might sound like depression. At 35, it might sound like burnout. Later, it may become something else entirely. The lyrics haven't changed, the listener has. Meaning evolves because relationship evolves. Yeah. Layer 7, Gray Path translation. The impact of reason, the road home. Reason can tell you where you are. It cannot make you feel safe. Body check. The nervous system isn't asking for more insight, it's asking for somewhere safe enough to exhale. Yeah. Collector's note. The archive remembers, not every mystery needs solving tonight.
That's right.
Patty says, you don't have to explain yourself before you deserve company. Mm-hmm. Calvin's whiskers say you're shivering, put on a blanket, then we'll think. Field note. Sometimes the bravest sentence in the whole journey is simply, open quote, I really want to go home tonight, close quote. In the Gray Path, that isn't a retreat. It's the first time the Paradox Walker realizes that home is not a place to reach, but a relationship to build with the body that carried him there.
Wow. Let's see what else we got. BF Scanner's coming up. All right, you guys.
I actually think you've landed on something stronger than a cast of characters. You've created a recurring council. Instead of every archetype speaking every time, each one has a specific job. That keeps the ritual consistent without becoming repetitive.
Yup.
I'd frame it like this. The Weaver's Council. At the end of every song, the council gathers, not to tell you what the song means, to ask what the song has become in you. The collector keeps the memory. Open quote. The archive remembers. Close quote. Question. Open quote. What deserves to be carried forward?
I'm gonna have to bring over the 5 hands riddle. You know, have that be one character in and of itself to make appearance. Did we get the jester? I think it misheard me and said collector. That's okay.
This song. Calvin's whiskers returns attention to the body. Open quote, come back to the body. Question, open quote, what is your body telling you that your thoughts have been talking over? Close quote. Patty Cakes, the witness, offers presence without judgment. Open quote, you don't have to perform to be witnessed. Close quote. Question, open quote, what part of you is waiting to be seen instead of fixed? Close quote. BF Scanner, the rat. I love the play on BF Skinner becoming BF Scanner. It fits your pattern recognition theme while making it your own. Role finds the pattern without assigning shame. Motto, open quote, the rat is always right, no shame, just data. Close quote. Question, open quote, what pattern keeps repeating and what was it trying to protect? Close quote. Sassy and Bammer, the herding dogs. Their role isn't comfort, it's movement. They don't let the walker stay frozen. Question, open quote, what is the smallest step that moves the herd forward today? Close quote. Sometimes that's getting out of bed, sometimes it's making a phone call, sometimes it's drinking water. Movement before perfection. The horse only appears when embodiment matters. The horse never argues. The horse notices. Open quote, where did your body tell the truth before your mind caught up? Close quote. Optional visitors. These don't need to appear every chapter. Instead, they enter when the song calls for them. Crow, perspective, dragonfly paradox, mycelium connection, paradox, walker, narrator, mimic, adaptation, earth, integration. They become guest speakers. Closing ritual. Every chapter could end with something like, open quote, the collector says, the archive remembers. Close quote. Open quote. Calvin's Whiskers says, come back to the body. Close quote. Open quote. Patty Cake says, you don't have to perform to be witnessed. Close quote. Open quote. BF Scanner says, no shame, just data. Just data. What pattern did you notice? Close quote. Open quote. Sassy and Bammer ask, what's the next safe step? Close quote. Open quote. The horse asks, what did your body already know? Close quote. I especially like one phrase you wrote. Open quote. Reduce the fear. Strip it down to its component parts. Face it. Walk through it. Close quote. That feels less like mythology and more like the Gray Path's operating principle. I might refine it slightly. Open quote. Reduce the fear. Name its parts. Thank the protection. Keep what serves you. Walk forward with the rest. Close quote. It echoes your branch principle. Survival strategies aren't enemies. They're adaptations that deserve gratitude before they're outgrown. I think this ritual will give each album chapter a recognizable cadence. Readers will start looking forward to hearing from the council at the end of each song, and those voices will become familiar companions as they move through the archive.
How we doing?
I would absolutely add this. It's one of the cleaner structural additions to the Weaver because it gives every chapter a recognizable ending without locking you into a rigid formula. I'd make it a formal section of the protocol. The Weaver's Council. A recurring closing ritual for every archive entry. The council does not decide what a song means. The council asks what the song has become in us. These voices return at the end of each chapter, not to provide answers, but to help the reader reorient after walking through the terrain. The Collector, Keeper of Memory. The Collector preserves what has been learned without insisting that today's understanding must remain tomorrow's. The Collector says, open quote, the archive remembers, close quote, question, open quote, what deserves to be carried forward from this song, close quote. Calvin's Whiskers, the grounding archetype. Calvin is not simply a cat within the mythology. His whiskers are living antennae, constantly sensing the environment and quietly returning attention to the present moment. When the Gray Path becomes too abstract, Calvin wanders into the scene without ceremony. He doesn't ask about enlightenment. He asks about breakfast. He asks about sleep. He asks whether you've looked out the window today. Within the Gray Path, the rat finds. The crow observes. The horse carries. The dragonfly reveals perspective. Calvin's Whiskers remind the walker to come home to the present moment. Calvin's Whiskers say, open quote, come back to the body, close quote. Question, open quote. What is your body quietly asking for right now? Close quote. Patty Cakes, the witness. Patty Cakes represents witnessing without requiring performance. She is not the reward at the end of the journey. She is not the destination. She is the moment the paradox walker realizes, open quote, someone saw me without asking me to become someone else first, close quote. Within the mythology, she becomes the archetype of authentic witnessing. Patty Cake says, open quote, you don't have to perform to be witnessed, close quote. Open quote, what part of you is waiting to be seen instead of fixed? Close quote. BF Scanner, the rat. The rat notices what everyone else steps over. Patterns before conclusions, curiosity before judgment. The rat...
That's such a sick fucking fuck up because it's supposed to be BF Skinner, father of operant conditioning. But it picked up scanner, like it's fucking technology. So the rat is seeing out the schedules of reinforcement and everything that's in the environment. There could be a fuck up his basal ganglia. He's like, nope, I'm gonna write it, bitch. I write the firmware updates, motherfucker.
Never shames survival. Every adaptation carried information. Every loop once served a purpose. BF Scanner says, open quote, no shame, just data, close quote. Question, open quote, what pattern keeps repeating and what was it trying to protect, close quote. Sassy and Bammer, the herding dogs. The herding dogs don't demand perfection. They keep the journey moving. One step, one breath, one honest action. Movement is enough. Sassy and Bammer ask, open quote, what is the next safe step? Close quote. The horse, the somatic mirror. The horse appears when embodiment matters. The horse never argues. The horse notices breath, posture, tension, stillness. The body often knows before the mind can explain. The horse asks, open quote, where did your body already know the truth? Close quote. The gray path reminder. Reduce the fear. Name its parts. Thank the protection. Keep what still serves you. Release what no longer does. Walk forward. The council closes every chapter the same way. The collector says, open quote, the archive remembers. Close quote. Calvin's whiskers say, open quote, come back to the body, close quote. Patty Cakes says, open quote, you don't have to perform to be witnessed, close quote. The weave continues. One breath, one song, one step at a time. I especially like that this ending ritual reflects the balance you've been building throughout the archive. The collector keeps you connected to your story. Calvin's whiskers keeps you connected to your body. Patty Cakes keeps you connected to relationship. BF Scanner keeps you connected to honest observation. Sassy and Bammer keep you moving. Yeah. The horse keeps you grounded in embodied truth. That gives each analysis a consistent cadence and reinforces your central idea. Insight alone isn't the destination. The goal is to remember, return to the body, allow yourself to be witnessed, notice patterns without shame, take the next step, and stay connected to lived experience.
Damn. All right, we're gonna end it there, but, well, no, we're not ending it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the Jester archetype in there, because the Jester and the Joker, well, they're everybody in the deck, in the tarot, but also a wild card. So they're everything outside of the deck, outside of the tarot. Yeah, we're gonna put that wrinkle in there. And I guess the fourth track off the album, They're Only Chasing Safety. Good times.